It seems like my life used to be a whole lot more predictable, and I miss those days. I'm Michelle. This is my romantic tangle. I've done some stitching since the last time I saw you that I'm here to show off. Here's down memory lane, and my goal was to have it done by the end of February. I probably could have had it done by the end of February if I had pushed harder, but I'm not in a mood to push right now. There's been a lot going on, nothing earth shattering, but things that take up time and energy. And so, what I have left to do is the wagon and some stuff around the sidewalk, so some flower baskets and stuff. And then there's this fenced patch of grass, which really doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And if this was counted cross stitch, I would be seriously tempted to leave this part out. But with stamped cross stitch, that's not an option. So I'm kind of tackling it with the idea of there are 7 rows of green, and if I do a row a day, I will get through it. And I am so close to done with the cross stitching, but then as soon as I finish that, there's the back stitching. So I decided not to make myself crazy trying to finish it by an arbitrary deadline. And I've also been working on something else, so we'll get to that in a second. Haven't done a stitch on Blue Jays since the last time I showed it to you. Again, there will be a day when I think isolated bits of confetti stitching sound like the funnest thing I could possibly do. Today is not that day, and it makes just as much sense to me to leave this until I'm in the mood for confetti as it does to force myself through it right now, just because, again, I'd set a silly deadline. We are almost at the end of February. I have not finished anything this year, but I've made big progress on some projects, so that's got to be a win. I got woodpeckers. I've had my eye on this Reolist kit for a while, and the price was good on Amazon, and I decided to take the plunge while I was ordering some stuff. We needed some car parts and some really mundane necessities, and I decided to buy this one because I really want to stitch it. The price was great, and oh my gosh, the price of cross stitch kits has gone up lately. Kits that I already have in my stash have more than doubled in price, so if it's something that I know I want to stitch, I'm probably going to add it to my stash. At the same time, I'm not adding a lot to my stash right now. I talked a while back about my second sock syndrome. I found another pair of socks that fall into the same category and got myself thoroughly confused because there's not enough yarn here to do a pair of socks. Then I realized I'm doing contrasting heels and toes with leftovers, and I sort of barely remember the plan for these. And I think they were supposed to be anklets. That's the only thing that possibly makes sense with the amount of yarn I've got here. So these are now in my pile of second sock syndrome socks, and I suppose I'll finish them. If I don't finish them, it's not the worst thing that can happen. The needles I should be using to finish the other pair, I did cast on the banana self-striping yarn from Premier Fruits. I love this stuff. Bananas don't have stripes, so I don't quite understand this in the same way that I do the watermelon or the strawberries, but this stuff is so cushy to knit with. And I would have this sock done, except I can't work up the enthusiasm to start turning the heel. And again, there will be a night when, oh my gosh, turning a heel just sounds like the perfect way to spend some time. I have faith that it will happen, and if it doesn't happen, I can force it later, right? In an effort to avoid working on down memory lane, I pulled out Southwest Mesa. There's progress here. I filled in stitching in the patch of dirt in the corner, and I filled in stitching up here. There are all kinds of interesting little things in this design that I could be stitching. There are pots, there is the building, but right now, because I'm moving up from that corner, I'm stitching a rock. I will be glad when the rock is done. The rock will contribute to the overall design. However, at the moment, it is not the most exciting thing I've ever stitched. But it's half stitches with 5 strands of floss, so that works. And I've started bobbinating the floss to keep track of it. If I was working on this with one of those pre-sorted floss organizers that did not exist when we bought this kit, it'd be a lot easier. Once I know that I have all of the floss and I have the floss wound onto bobbins, I have faith that it's going to get easier. It's not easy right now. Right now I have a Ziploc bag of colors that really don't look like they're going to belong in this design, and I don't know if I have all of the colors I need, and I'm just taking it a stitch at a time and trusting that it will all work out in the end. Because like I said, life has been busy. There's been a lot of stuff that needed done that wasn't stitching. So I will stitch when I can. I've been on a reading binge, and hopefully things settle down soon. Thanks for watching. I've always got stuff in the works. It's just working a little more slowly right now. I will be back with more videos before a long time passes.